Bob was given an assignment to figure out a creative way to demonstrate limited reagent. Bob was so frustrated and confused he walked the playground all morning. Because Bob knows that his teacher is very serious when it comes on to presentation. Then it finally came to Bob that he can use ice cream. He was so excited, he jumped for joy. Bob explained that he could use ice cream cones with ice cream scoops to make what he called a single scooper. Bob explained that if he takes 4 ice cream cones and 3 scoops of ice cream, he can only make 3 scoopers. Bob now explained that if he took out his 3 cones and his 3 ice cream scoops to make his 3 ice cream scoopers, he will have 1 cone left, which he called the excess cone. Then he also explained that the ice cream, since it was all used up, then the ice cream itself is limited to make his 3 products. Bob also explained that his products, or the amount of products that he can make, is based upon the amount of limited reagent he has. Now class, what I want you to remember is always to calculate moles. Once you find moles, then you can go ahead and work out your limited reagent. Now, the ways that we can find moles are 1, mass to moles. You can always calculate molecules to moles. Also, volume to moles. Now, mass to moles is given as the mass given divided by the RMM, which is the relative molecular mass. In terms of molecules to moles, then the molecules divided by 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd power, which is the Avogadro's number, then you'll get your mole. And finally, volume to mole is that the volume divided by the condition, and the condition could either be STP or RTP. Therefore, you divide the volume by the value of STP or RTP based on what the situation is. Now, let's quickly look at an example. This one is to determine the limited reagent if 2 grams of hydrogen reacts with 1 gram of chlorine. Now, the first thing that you need to do is to always write your chemical equation. Then, importantly, you must balance this equation. Now, let us consider this. Remember, what we need to do is to write down the things that are given. So we have 2 grams of hydrogen and we have 1 gram of chlorine. From this, we can work out our mole. Remember our mole conversions. Now we're working with grams. So the mole of hydrogen is 2 grams divided by the RMM, which is 2 times 1 in this case. So therefore it is 2. So therefore the mole of hydrogen is 1 mole. Now for chlorine, we have 1 gram divided by the RMM, and the RMM here is 35 multiplied by 2, which is 70, which gives us 0.014 moles of chlorine. Based on these values, we can now determine or explain that the chlorine is limited because the moles is smaller compared to that of hydrogen, and therefore we can conclude that hydrogen is in excess. Now let's add another part to this question. Let us find the mass of HCl formed. Now how are we going to do this? Again, we go back to our moles. So based on calculation, we calculated 1 mole of hydrogen and 0.014 moles of chlorine. Remember Bob's explanation that the products or the product that is formed is based upon the limited reagent. Therefore, if we are going to find the mass of HCl, we must compare the limited reagent, which is Cl, and HCl. The first thing you look at right here is the mole ratio. The mole ratio between Cl and HCl is 1 to 2. So there are 1 molecule of chlorine to 2 molecule of HCl. From the molar ratio, we could calculate the moles of HCl by simply dividing the mole of chlorine by 1, because there's only 1 mole of chlorine, multiply by 2, which is 2 moles of HCl. This will give us 0.028 moles of HCl. Once you have your mole, you can go ahead and calculate your mass. Now, mass now is equal to the mole multiplied by the RMM. So therefore, going to be 0.028 multiplied by 36. And 36 comes from the RMM of HCl. Hydrogen is 1 gram, chlorine is 35 grams. So 35 plus 1 is 36. Therefore, we will get here 1.008 grams of HCl. Now, I hope this was good for you. And I want to tell you that I appreciate you watching this lesson. And please never limit yourself. Have a wonderful day.